fulfill. I think the house rules are that, Lekha, correct me if I'm wrong, those who have questions or those who want to respond to the film will need to come to the front. There won't be mics that will be passed around. You will have to come to the mic in the front here and speak. Okay, and with that, I remember when we were talking about having this memorial for Navroz, and as documentary filmmakers in the group, Swati and I especially, we wanted to screen Jadu Katha because that was the one and only documentary that Navroz had directed. And Deepa insisted that we show this film. And we were wondering why she wanted to show this particular film, and it's only after watching the film again recently that I realized that, there is, Navroz is omnipresent, like you said earlier, right? He is in front of the camera several times in his several cameos, very exciting cameos, and then, of course, you can see him behind the camera. In the way the film has been shot, so much tenderness, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about, your relationship with Navroz and how both of you kind of worked on the film? You said he came in later. The film was conceived already?
No. So normally the cinematographer does come in later and they don't engage with the scripting or... but as I said, I'd been working with Navroz for a while by then. And we were kind of friends. We knew, he knew what I was looking for in a film. So that was easy. But the thing is that we, even while shooting the kind of fictionalized staged versions, we were constantly shooting the non-fiction documentary footage, as and when it happened, like the kite flying sequence, for example. So we had to do a lot of shooting on the streets, on the terraces of Ahmedabad to get that. And then one day we shot the stage sequence with the king, and so it was kind of always moving between the fiction and the non-fiction when we were shooting. So it was not a fixed kind of thing that today or 1 week we'll just do non-fiction. And with Navroz it's very easy to move from, at least for me, move from one to the other. Move from a very controlled, very defined kind of framing to a very uncontrolled situation where you frame as you go along. I was just watching the last sequence and the night shot of the boy with the balloons. So it's just, we were there, it was there, so I said, let's shoot this. So you just shoot it. And I kind of guide him in the sense of which way he should move so that it doesn't bang into anything. So it was that kind of an equation with Navroz. So shooting in that sense was very organic, if I may say so.
Especially that very, for me, the most striking shot in the film is, it's almost like the actor, Hushi, is kind of flying.
Yeah, now that...
what was...
that, I don't think the credit goes to the crane that we got. We just found a fire brigade crane which could go up to 100 feet. And we got access to that, so we just devised that shot on the spur of the moment and shot it.
So it was devised on the spot?
So in the sense, I knew that I'm getting the crane, so, and we could... It had to be a late evening shot, so I knew that we would just get 1 or maximum 2 runs, if at all, the second. So we had to be sure that this is what we are doing, and then we just did it. A lot of times it just works. It might not have worked. So we were lucky that it worked. So that has nothing to do with either the cameraman or the director. That has a lot to do with chance, which filmmaking is kind of dependent on hugely.
But it does become a very defining...
It is an iconic shot, yeah. Yes, of course.
And where it comes in the film also.
Yeah, but that's deliberate, of course. Right. The song was supposed to be where it is. It just so happened that we managed to shoot it in the manner that we shot it.
No, no, I just want to kind of get a little deeper into that. But okay, so you had in the script, in the screenplay, you had the song already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very powerful song. Raghuveer Yadav, I think, sings it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And so you had already devised the shot. I mean, in a kind of more.
Originally it was planned to be a very different kind of shot. I wanted to shoot it in the wilderness with a film crane, but it was becoming expensive to get that. So I really was struggling with what to do till I got access to this crane. And then we shot in the middle of the city and not in the wilderness. So, but as I said, that not everything is very planned a lot of times. And in a film like this, there are a lot of things which are not planned, which are kind of done while shooting.
Yeah, I mean, were there other moments in the film that you can kind of
remember? There's another similar shot where the river, there's a, so we were there at the location and we just saw this rope car. So we kind of got onto that and shot that. Otherwise it would have been a very different shot. So these things, yeah.
Yeah, and what I observed in the film is that as much as it is a satire, it is a farce, but then the shot taking is so deliberate. I mean, it is so classical. Right? I mean, was that something that was conceived by you, by the two of you together? Right?
No, normally shot taking is the director's purview. I mean, the director tells the cameraman what he or she wants. And then, I mean, the cameraman might have suggestions. But it was, I mean, as random as the film looks, it was not as random.
No, it looks, the shot taking is very deliberate, in fact. It's not at all random.
But see, the thing is, the documentary footage, we didn't know what we were going to get. We were shooting on film, right? So you don't immediately see what you have shot. It takes a month or so before you see the rushes. So that was kind of a chance thing. I did not have any idea what kind of archival footage I have access to. So that was a chance. So once we got that material, then it was on the editing table that the structure actually emerged. The script was very different from the film in that sense. There was no hint of what images were going where. So it's also structured on the editing table a bit. But the thing is, with somebody like Navroz, it's very easy. It was very easy for me, at least, to not have to bother about the image that I was going to get, not bother about going anywhere and saying, Navroz, I want a shot from there. Because it was always, he never said no to anything. So that was the biggest thing. And I'm sure most cameramen working with directors would probably do that. But for me, this was the equation that I had.
And how did he manage to bring himself into the film at various points? You said it was in the morning of, yeah.
No, so see, originally the film was written with one single sutradhar who would travel through the film. We tried looking for an actor who was willing to do it, who would be a good enough actor. We couldn't find one, so we then, just when we started shooting, decided that we will get rid of the sutradhar and have multiple people appearing as sutradhars. So friends who were, there's one other person who was assisting me as a director, assistant director. He appears in many things. He did a song. So while we were doing this, Navroz came up with ideas every second morning. You know, let's do this. I'll throw the newspaper like this. So then the sound recordist said that no, then if Navroz is doing that, I'll do this. So we have both the sound recordist and the cameraman appearing in the scenes. You know. A couple of times there were scenes which were actually, Navroz started shooting it, I took over the camera, he went in front of the camera, so that also happened. So yeah, it was great fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun by making the film.
About the soundtrack, the music especially in the film. So there is again, even with the music, I realized that okay, as much as it is, there is you borrowed from the folk traditions. Then there is also some influence of mainstream Bollywood, and then there is also jazz that comes in, and somehow they all work together fantastically. I mean, in one single piece, it begins with jazz and then goes into the folk.
Yeah.
Right? How did you make that work?
I don't know. I just did it and it worked, I guess. But there are a couple of interesting stories. One is, Navroz actually played the ghatam in one of the songs. We were recording and he just landed up there. The music director said, oh, you know, you can play the ghatam. So he said, yeah, I can. So he actually went and bought a matka. And one song in the film, the train, there's a song in the train where there's a ghatam. So Navroz played the ghatam there. And in the Raghuveer song, there is no music, there is no rhythm, nothing. And we had to get him to sing like that without any accompaniment. And he was just not being able to do that. So eventually we got half a bottle of rum and it happened. So
this was not the first film on which you worked with Navroz.
We did a documentary, we did actually 2 documentaries we did for that. The first one, as I said, was called Famine 87, which was looking at sustained scarcity in Kutch, in the Bani region of Kutch, which is a pastoral land. And then we'd done some other film for the literacy mission after that. So this was the 3rd or 4th film.
And I mean, you said that there was a great degree of comfort right from the beginning and you were more friends.
Yeah. We were, I mean, for one, both of us spoke Gujarati. So for me that worked, for him that worked. And he was from Ahmedabad. So we had that kind of connection. Both of us had grown up in Ahmedabad at different times, of course. But so we had that kind of connection. And in the film, we shot largely in Ahmedabad. So that helped because he knew the city. He knew what and how to shoot. And yeah, I mean, right from the first film, we were very comfortable with each other. We were very close as friends by then.
Yeah, the film kind of becomes an ode to Ahmedabad also.
It is.
Right?
It is. But I mean, there is a lot of places we shot outside of Ahmedabad. Like Diu was one big location. See, the film basically, as a production design, we had decided that it won't have any bright colors in the film, except for the red diary, which was red. So we had to actually select locations which did not have striking colors, and where we had to do a lot of street shooting. We went to Diu, which is almost like Goa. Everything is pastel, there are no bright colors. So a lot of the street shots, the songs, we shot there. But we had to be very careful in avoiding colors, so even in the documentary kind of footage that we were shooting, we were very careful that we did not point the camera at areas which had very bright colors. Yeah. And part of the thing is, when you don't have money, you find ways to do things which sometimes work better. We really didn't have, I mean, it was a very low budget film.
For example, I mean, particular instances in the film, particular situations.
Sorry?
No, you said...
Otherwise, I would have probably done the film on a set, if I had that kind of money.
No,
So, I mean, the entire music recording was done on a simple digital encoder in a basement with just 2 microphones. So, everything was done live. All the music and singing was live. We just did not have resources to go and record in the studio. There were 40 songs that we recorded. So things like that.
Yeah, in fact, it's the songs that kind of
Hmm.
play the role of the sutradhar
Yeah.
and kind of hold the film together, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying just the recording. I mean that was something which was very innovative on part of the music director. So
So what was the brief to the music director, Rajat Tulaki?
nothing, no brief. This is.
No, in bringing all the various elements and.
But they are written. The text is like that, no? I mean, if you the text refers to say the Hindi film songs. That is obvious. There are some other songs which are based on Gujarati poetry, based on traditional folk Gujarati. So that's a given then, that this is the kind of tonality it will have musically. And then the rest was his thing.
So where does a film like this borrow from, Sanjiv? I mean, I know there is the context in which the film was made, but your particular influences in kind of devising this film.
There's no
in terms of, the context of what was happening around the world and what was happening specifically in India, in Gujarat.
Yes, so the content was important, and that kind of determined the form that the film would take. I don't think it is influenced by any other cinematic precedences. I don't think there's a film like this that I've seen, at least in India. So that obviously was not there. And our brief was very simple, that we would use any device to convey a message. And when you're looking at history, contemporary history, it's very difficult to do it in a kind of formal narrative dramatic structure. You can't do it. At least we couldn't do it. So we thought this is the best way to do it. You borrow from whichever form that is convenient and useful. So it borrows from all kinds of things. And as I said, on the set, everybody was having fun. Everybody would suggest. So like there are references from Mad magazine. There are references from all kinds of things like that. And that would pop up on the sets. And we say, yeah, let's do this. So it is that kind of a...
Even the neighing of the horse when the...
That's, yeah.
Just having
things.
fun.
Yeah. So anybody has a question or wants to say something, otherwise we can...
Not a question really, but more on the dissent, the whole issue of dissent and the state pushback against dissent. So while watching the movie, a lot of times I felt that it is actually commenting on something that is happening now.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately.
Yeah, I relate to that, but there's an element of timelessness, I guess, in this movie, and also things are moving in a direction which is probably not that good. But do you think such a movie, if it was to be made today, it would actually come to screens or?
No. I don't think so. And surprisingly, it was a Congress government then, and it got a censor certificate, and it
funded by an NFDC.
Funded by NFDC, and it was shown in the International Film Festival. So, whatever you might say about that time. But it was true actually. See, the Ayodhya movement had started, the Babri thing was going to happen. I mean, it happened actually while we were making the print for the film. The Berlin Wall had fallen. So there was a great push towards a very singular kind of ideology in India and outside of India. I mean, neoliberalism was kind of the key thing. India was also getting onto that path. So one could see that these things are going to happen. There was a huge pushback by the government then against what they called Naxals. So you could see signs of what might happen. But I don't think anybody of us would have anticipated that it would last for 30 years and become what it has become now. So, and for the film, fortunately or otherwise, it resonates with the young people now. Even if they don't get the references that the film has about specific time and events, but a lot of young people are kind of reacting to this film. So, I guess that's.
Yeah, so glad to have watched this movie.
Oh, thank you
for
so much
making
for-
it. It's really a great experience.
Thank you so much.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
We watched it in college about 20 years ago,
Oh.
and I still remember many things from it. But if there was a film that you and Navroz ever discussed making, 1, 2, 3 films, but were never able to make, could you tell us a little about those films? The films that you didn't get to make with him?
No, we did actually. I know Navroz wanted to make a film which he never got to make, which was on Karna Bill. He had a script ready, and I don't think he pushed it enough. And after this film, I haven't really pushed enough to go ahead and make another film for various reasons. But so we would talk about documentaries. I mean, that we should do this, we should do that. But we kept on working together on and off. So there was never this thing of let's do something else. We never had that kind of conversation, unfortunately. No.
Thank you.
There was
Can I
someone
shoot
there.
a
Yes.
question from here? Yeah. So this duration, 128 minutes, when I first looked at it, I thought it would be rather long,
Yeah.
but it was quite gripping. How did you arrive at that overall time?
How did I arrive at?
Yeah, you had to snip, you had to probably, that's just the thought process.
Actually, it contains all that we shot in a way. So I haven't really. It was slightly longer in its first iteration. What I've done is trimmed the songs. Instead of the full songs, there are just parts of them now. That's the only thing that we did. But again, I mean, length is something which is very subjective. People, if they get hooked onto watching it, then it works. If they don't, then it doesn't. So for me, when I was making it, I thought it would hold people's attention. I think with this film, and I've heard this from a few people, if you actually see it for 10 minutes, then you're hooked. If you can't sit for 10 minutes, then you're out. That's the problem. Or so I hear.
There's someone in the back there? No?
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Oh, there's a mic.
This film in '92 to a Gujarati audience, it dwells into a lot of characteristics which we don't even get to see today. And like it starts off with this inconvenience of Raja with mosquito, and the whole plot develops on the whole mosquito. And how did the people respond, the native speakers? How did they?
When it was made, it really didn't get much traction, to be honest. It was written about a lot. We could not get a release. And those days, the only way you could show a film was theatrically. About 2 years later, Doordarshan started a channel called Metro, DD Metro, which is when they purchased the rights for the film. And I think they telecast it for about 10 times. So a lot of people in this country got to see it on DD Metro. And I've met people in the Northeast who'd seen it then on television, and people all over the country. So that was the only way this film got around. Because film, it was very expensive, you couldn't hire a theatre, you couldn't carry the films, 10 rolls around, and so it was difficult to show that.
Thank you. And one more question. The last scene, there were some actual footages from a lot of there was like police, and it seemed like an actual footage that was put into it.
Yeah.
What was it?
So basically, the film, right through the film, you have footage of elections, which is elections in India. The footage was acquired from Films Division. So the film, I mean, one king dies, there is an election, the other king is kind of nominated. He dies, and there's another election, and the third king comes in. So the elections were, in that sense, supposed to mean that.
Thank you. Beautiful film.
Welcome.
You also have footage from Deepa's Kya Hua
Yeah,
Shared
Deepa's
Poem,
film and Anand's
Anand's
film.
films,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was also, I mean, conceived before.
No.
No.
I knew I wanted footage like that, but what I was going to take, I didn't know.
Do you want to say a little bit about the restoration of the film that happened in... Yeah? Okay, any more questions? Okay, I think...
Well, thank you everybody
Yeah.
for sitting through it. Thank you to Vikram for organizing this and BIC for the space and the projection. Thank you everybody.